and a warm welcome to our webinar on professional opportunities in Information System Audit organized by Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. I am C. Akriti Singh and I am delighted to be your moderator for today's exciting session. So in today's digital age, the importance of information system audit cannot be overstated. It plays a crucial role in safeguarding data, ensuring compliance and managing risk in organization as we are in the era of cyber threat. So, in our panel discussion, our experts will shed light on the various career paths, scope of IS audits, certifications, and skills that can lead to success in the field of IS audit. So, we have the honor of welcoming our esteemed chairman, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda sir, as well as our esteemed eminent speakers, CA K. Vijaya Srinivas sir and CA D. Premnath sir. And in absence here, our vice chairman, CA Dayanivas sir. So we have Nanda sir. He needs no introduction. Central Council member of ICAI. He's the chairman of Digital Accounting Insurance Board, Internal Audit Standards Board, Committee on Insurance Technology of South Asian Federation of Accountants, and also the vice chairman of Banking Financial Services and Insurance Committee, ICAI. And he has experience of being a chairman of various committees. I surely cannot name all of them. So, but I try to name few: management accounting, internal audit, members in industry, women members empowerment, CSR, professional education and committee, and on and on. So, sir, honestly, words cannot define you, cannot describe you. So, your dedication and wisdom has always been instrumental in shaping our path to success. So, today we are privileged to uh, have you and to have you share your words of wisdom with us. So, over to you, Nanda, sir. Is Nanda sir not there? Hello, Nanda sir.
Nanda sir, you are on mute, sir.
While traveling in train, I'm not sure whether he's able to connect.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
So, Mr. Premnath Degla, Senior Chartered Accountant, CA K. Vijay Srinivas, again a Senior Chartered Accountant, both of them hail from Hyderabad. CA Akriti Singh, a young aspiring Chartered Accountant. I also have CA Amit Gupta, the Secretary of the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, Mr. Ashok from the technical side, officials of DAB, and all participants who have come here to go home more enlightened. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I'm traveling by train after a long time, and there are a lot of technical glitches, and therefore I'm not able to put on my video. Today's webinar happens to be very, very educative and very interesting webinar. We have more than 35,000 members who have done ISA, which is Information System Audit. But largely, we need to put across what are the professional opportunities when they qualify the Information System Audit. To put it candidly, most of professionals do Information System Audit to qualify for bank audits. We are moving on a different note altogether. Now, as the chairman of DAB and chairman of IT committee of 7 countries, I, Charanjot Singh Nanda, call upon my professional brethren to get involved in technology, to create greener pastures in technology and work in tandem with the best practices of the globe. I would like to apprise to you that Reserve Bank of India called us. And the best part was that they said that whenever an information audit is done, even by an engineer, even by a company secretary, even by a ICW, an advocate, the regulator has to be the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Look at the honor bestowed upon us. They want us to regulate the entire information system arena. And in this regard, I was in discussion with Mr. Premnath and Mr. Vijay Srinivas, and they suggested that let us first speak to our membership, apprise them what has to be their essential skill sets. Qualifying an exam will never ultimately lead to efficient and better reports. You need to understand the entire process, whereby you are not able only to serve your clients and stakeholders, but the regulators and government as well. So in this direction, we have both the speakers, and I want to put it very candidly that I have high respect for both of them because they have a high agenda to serve the institute of which they are members. Whenever I speak to them, they are concerned about the fact that there are certain areas where Indian chartered accountants having DISA qualification were not impaneled simply because they did not have certain certifications like certain. And therefore, I requested them to take a full-fledged session. And there we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, not taking much of your time, I want to tell you that today's session is going to be very exciting and very happening. And more importantly, we chartered accountants is to focus how we have to perform. I'm reminded of a couplet which says, तमाम शहर बसाकर तमाम शहर बसाकर गांवों में सुकून ढूंढते हैं तमाम शहर बसाकर गांवों में सुकून ढूंढते हैं कितने नादान हैं हम हाथों पे कुल्हाड़ी लेकर छांव ढूंढते हैं My dear friends, if you want to work in the area of technology, get involved into understanding technology. I would give you two very important developments of the board. Number one, today we have started our high profile program. The name of the program is Technology for Non-Technology Professionals. People who have not been used to technology. It's a 3-day program where they can get involved and understand technology till the last ditch. And second thing, apart from information system audit, your institute under the council's direction has made forensic standards mandatory from 1st July 2023, along with an implementation guide on each and every standard. My dear friends, these two things are enough to change the landscape of practices in technology and the indulgence of chartered accountants. So I will not speak much. Two of the learned speakers are here. They'll take you through all the nuances of how to become an efficient information system auditor. So thanks. I'll have to withdraw now because signal is again winning out. Have a nice session. I wish this webinar, a great success. And I want to thank both the speakers and the moderator who have come to ensure that all our members go home enlightened, putting at rest all the doubts that may have crept over the years. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir.
Okay, so now we have our speakers, and just to introduce them, I'd like to introduce first CA Vijay Srinivas sir. He's a fellow chartered accountant based out of Hyderabad. He has more than 21 years of practicing experience. He's also a certified information system auditor, a certified fraud examiner, and insolvency professional. He has a diploma in cybersecurity and data protection laws and also in information system audit. He's a continuing member of Hyderabad Group Financial Reporting Review Group ICAI. And secondly, I would like to introduce CA Premnath sir, a fellow chartered accountant having a diploma in information system audit. He has completed FAFD, that is Forensic Accounting and Fraud Detection, Concurrent Audit Certification and Indirect Tax Certification course. He's a partner at Messrs. C. Ramachandran & Co. Hyderabad, and he has also been a member of Peer Review Board and Financial Reporting Review Board. He handles external, forensic, concurrent and revenue audits, designs and reviews SOPs, and provides GST implementation services too. Without further ado, I kindly invite Srinivas sir and Premnath sir to please share your insights with us. Over to you, sirs.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
So let me just start the way it's going to be. I'll be sharing the screen. I'll be sharing the screen both on behalf of me as well as Premnath sir. So, and let this 3 hours of session be more of an interactive. So I would request the moderator to keep an eye on any questions popping in. So now and then we'll keep requesting members to participate by posing their questions, because ultimately this is, we planned it to be more of an interactive session. Wherein members, if they have any doubts with regard to clarification on empanelment and all, let them kindly use the question area. So without wasting much time, I'll be sharing my screen and let's proceed with.
Thank you. Before Vijay sir shares the screen, I thank DAB for giving this fantastic opportunity under the leadership of Nanda sir. We have a high regard to Nanda sir for his dynamic skills in dynamic skills and dynamic leadership in bringing as much scope as possible to the profession. It is only if there is any delay from Nanda sir, it is the delay from our side in bringing to his notice that we can do this. So when we have met sir at Hyderabad in the recent conference, we have met Nanda sir, and then we said, sir, this is an area where we can do much. Then sir is also on the same lines. Then he said immediately, yes, we need to do on certain. On 30th of this month, 30th September, is last date for getting empanelment into certain. This is Computer Emergency Response Team, which is created by Ministry of Information Technologies. Section 70B of Information Technologies Act 2000, Section 70B Information Technologies Act has given right to certain to monitor the total IS information security related audits or compliance or whatever you call it to the information to the certain which is created under Ministry of Information Technologies Act as stands today. DP, that is Digital Privacy Act, was passed by the Parliament, I think 11th of August, and President accent is given. Board will be formed anytime. Once the board forms and there is Parliament session wherein the agenda is yet to be known, but still in that agenda there is possibility that a board can be created or a new laws can be brought in for the IT, wherein the Information Technology Act today, what it stands, may get merged with the other. We have seen certain bills are pending with respect to the CRPC and all. So all these things are heading towards a dynamic change in the days to come. So once that happens, there will be a big change in finance related IT and finance related. There's going to be a huge change, and that change is going to open up in a bigger way to the chartered accountants. At this point of time where we are today, we are all struggling with lesser opportunities in income tax audit or GST audit or whatever it is. Our professionals are much worried about the technology taking away the role of preventive and detective controls, which is a part of audit. And exactly that is a time when this is opening up, meaning we need not worry if one door closes, another door opens up automatically. In this way, we are today worried about one door getting closed due to the technology, but the same technology is open up unlimited opportunities. That opportunity is opening up subject to the new set of skills that we need to have. New in the sense we are active chartered accountants 1.5 lakhs, rather one third of the chartered accountants, practicing chartered accountants are already with DISA certified. And these DISA certified, in the days to come, what we can do is what is today's prime agenda. Yes, as I said, certain today has taken the control of IS audits. So we need to move into certain. As to how we can move into certain, what are the certain requirements? As on today, how many firms or how many entities are registered in certain? Among them, how many chartered accountants are certain? How many non-chartered accountants are certain? How many corporates are certain? This data is already there on the certain website. But why this session planned so urgently today when total Indian chartered accountants are cornered with tax audit? Why suddenly this is planned? Why suddenly this is planned is 30th September is the last date to get empaneled with certain. Yes, 30th September is also a last date for filing the for getting the tax audits carried out. But if we can understand today how easy it is to move into certain, and it doesn't take much time to fill in the application and put it. Yes, after once we file the application, what systems and process goes on at certain, that's a different story altogether. That will take it up separately, but just we need to first move into that. Yes, do we have required qualifications to move into certain, to file a certain applications? We'll just certainly in next 2.5 hours of time, we'll certainly move into, we'll move around the application, we'll read each and every line, we'll try to understand each and every line of application. What are the contents, what are the requirements, where do we stand today, what is the process once I file the application, what is the process they take up, is all these things we'll discuss in the next 2.5 hours of time. So why we are doing certain is, as I said, 70B of Information Technology Act has given power to certain for that computer emergency response team under Ministry of Information Technology. Because of this, what happened is last year we have done one cooperative bank migration audit. Majority of the participants understand the nature of work involved in migration audit. That too for a cooperative bank. In that case, I think last year, I mean 2021, we have done that audit. For 2023, the limited tender was floated, and then we approached the bank. They said, we are interested in giving the work to you, but you should have been a certain empaneled. But I said, RBI has not regulated, RBI has nowhere has said this. But they said, no, sir, most of the banks, most of the banks have moved into, or they're putting a condition that certain. We also, our board has taken a policy decision that will get with certain. Not only banks, many institutions like SEBI has come out with a concept paper. They are also saying, if you want to carry out the audits under the SEBI scope, under the Securities Exchange Board of India scope, today, the number of audits, number of auditable units that has to get audited every year, today, it stands 30,000 plus, 35,000 precisely, or plus. So 35,000 units needs to get audited on an yearly basis. Who should be certain empaneled? Okay, then how many units or how many entities have got registered with certain? It is not more than 170 entities which are today stands registered with certain, meaning in the days to come, whether 170 certain registered entities, can they take up huge 35,000 units under SEBI to be audited? Meaning we have huge scope to enter into and apply for it. What happens if on 30th September, if I don't apply for, then you have to wait for one more year. Okay, is there any eligibility criteria to apply for certain? Yes, we'll certainly look into those areas. Okay, before we go into that, let's understand. Okay, some of them might have already Googled into certain, might have already done. Some of them might have already gone into certain, by the time I'm speaking here, and seen certain things there. Oh, this is not my cup of tea. No, please patiently wait for 2-3 hours. All the participants, listeners will, I'm sure they will definitely file the application. The cost of application is zero, but the fees is just 5,000 rupees DD you need to take. Okay. Why are we doing this, and how is this total Indian technology and finance related world is moving? How this Indian technology related audits are moving? Let's try to understand this very carefully. We have seen 1.5 years back, company audits, company law, MCA or Companies Act has made audit trail a mandatory, sitting in the act today, but at least postponed to 23-24 reporting. Meaning, Companies Act has already recognized audit trail which is related to the information systems. Then why so? Why that MCA is so hurry in bringing audit trail? Reason is the total world is moving into information technology. Information technology is enabling controls, and that controls not detective controls but preventive controls. So the total information technology is moving towards preventive controls. So as a part of preventive controls, audit trail is required so that none of them will play fools with the system of financial recordings. So once an audit trail is established, then the much trust can be placed on the financials and the bookkeeping, the system of account recording the financial transactions, and people will start believing the financial transactions. So from that point of view, once if the primary place at the rock bottom level where the financial transactions are generating, if more of the preventive controls are placed at the place where the financial transactions are coming out, that is the place where if controls are strong enough, and from there onwards, these transactions will be hitting ITR, GST, XBRL, e-invoicing, and whatnot, and whatnot. Hence, the rock bottom place where the transactions are getting generated, there the technology has started entering now with audit trail, and the government has believed the statutory auditor can test this control of information system and hand over the job to us. Okay, that is the first point. When Companies Act has recognized audit trail and requesting a chartered accountant to certify the system of audit trail in the books of accounts, irrespective of the size of turnover in the company. Irrespective of the size of turnover in the companies, audit trail is made mandatory, meaning that the government has trusted the chartered accountants on the technology. Okay. Now ITRs are digitized. Now, after the ITRs are digitized and auto fill up of EIS, Form 26AS, and various other data are linked to the AIS, and then all this are linked to the ITR. Most of the manual intervention is eliminated and auto processing is being done. Now, when that is the kind of work that is going on the other side, they expect the information technology controls at the corporate level, at the ITR processing level, at the department level, at the corporate levels. That is the reporting point of view. Then at the same time, GST is digitized. with e-invoicing being mandated up to 5 crores, and then it will start drilling down to a much lower level. Then XBRL digitized with RBI and SEBI mandating it, all submissions should be done through the XBRL kind of a thing. Then e-invoicing. All these things are giving us a hint that in the days to come, there will be more of preventive controls than the detective controls. The role of chartered accountant in the audit, in the documentary audit, in the process audit, in the audit of documents, audit of physical documents, and all is more when there is when the preventive controls fails, when there is a lot of scope for detective controls, and hence the relevance of chartered accountants were more in those times. Now it is all preventive controls where the departments are integrated, and that's a place where they expect the role of an information systems auditor to certify the processes, the policies, the procedures, and so on. And for that, as Nanda sir was rightly stated, as of today, there is no standard reporting, there is no standard reporting, and there is no standard reporting procedures, there is no standard code of conduct, ethical issues of in reporting. If something goes wrong in reporting, how do you penalize the IS auditor? And the strict code of conduct, disciplinary mechanism, reporting mechanism, standards, all these things are not set. And then that's what Nanda sir was saying. RBI has recognized this and started looking at ICAI, because ICAI has a standard set of procedures with respect to disciplinary mechanism, with respect to enrollment, with respect to degree, with respect to giving degrees, with respect to training, with respect to CPE, with respect to standards and all these things. And then the RBI is looking at ICAI giving the role of a regulator, and if that materializes in the days to come, if that's going to if that is going to regularize in the days to come, there's going to be huge opportunities in the days to come, and the session is towards that. And we don't know what's going to happen in next 1 month of time, and it's better that we just get inside the cert in, and that's the reason why we are here. Okay, without debating much into it, I said these are all the reasons why we should be into certain registered. Now, is systems audit new to us? No, everyone knows that system audit. We are not new to the system audit. At least for the past 15-20 years, at least from 2013, where IFC has been made mandatory, internal financial controls over financial reporting is made mandatory from 2013 and 14 onwards. We are continuously doing information technology general control review. Not only that, audit trail, as I've said, then access controls, physical access controls, logical access controls. Today, most of the chartered accountants are living in a good apartments in various cities where you have a physical access controls in the apartments in which we live. What not, the biometric access. Many offices have a biometric kind of a thing, and attendances are processed in the chartered accountants' offices through biometric processing. And we are in and out dealing with technology as an end user, but at the same time, we can also contribute much to the technology. Then we have already started testing automation of NPAs as per 2021 circular of RBI, whether the NPA processing is automation. We have already started doing it. Many of us are already onto the concurrent audit, where we regularly deal with the Pinnacle or Bank CBS softwares, SAP, Tally, ERP, and most of us, thanks to the COVID kind of a thing, where we all have started working on onlines, and then personally used technology day to day, like whatnot. We download the apps, and at the time of downloading the apps, it lasts so many controls. We have understood the controls very well. And today everyone is today using Chat GPT, Bing, Bard for artificial intelligence. And we are using robotic process in booking IRCTC tickets or answering questions through boards and all. So IS audit is not new to the chartered accountants today. And then going forward again, I think Vijay, you have to add anything. So before I go on.
Yeah. Yeah, as Premna sir was suggesting, the main purpose of this session is one thing to bear with us for the next 2 hours or so, because try not to miss out the important aspects. Why we are trying to address theoretically initially is we need to understand, like probably I'll take an example of at least those practitioners who are there for 15, 20 years. If you remember, in the earlier days of practice, you would have come across client whenever he introduces some computer, some system, or even purchases a mobile, he used to approach us because he believed our advancement in terms of understanding technology and all. He used to take our advices and all. If you remember, even for the government officials, they sometimes used to take our help in terms of migration or integration or whatever it may be. That was the scenario 10, 15 years back. Now, in the current scenario, the regulators and the clients are moving little ahead of us by virtue of all the technology available for a lower cost, whatever it is. So that's where if the gap goes on increasing, we are falling behind catching up the services, and also not justifying the kind of what you call the trust what they have when it comes to implementation of technology. So I'm just trying to refresh that memory what you had 10, 15 years back, where clients used to approach us for any kind of technology introduction. Now in the current scenario, they are little ahead of us by virtue of various information systems they are implementing, and thanks to the regulatory compliances what they are imposing by virtue of certain by virtue of certain, of course, in the cybersecurity framework, by SEBI, RBI, IRDAI. All these regulators, they've already started implementing the cybersecurity framework, which is more about information security. Now, in that scenario, pardon me. So, in that scenario, if we are lacking behind, saying that no, especially if I'm saying that I'm more concerned about the information systems audit, and that's where there will be a gap which we need to catch up with. So just to reiterate what Prerna sir was mentioning, try to follow this session, because what we are trying to address through this session is to show that it is not impossible. It's very much possible to get empaneled with certain by following certain procedure. Even if not, what we are going to learn through this process is an experience for the next year by the time we apply for the next year. So it's only that amount of 5,000 what we are losing, but definitely you are going to gain, because we'll see down the lane what kind of requirement all the regulators are asking about when it comes to performing an IS audit. Okay, but the change we have seen already in a couple of banks, and the way they have come back with regard to couple of empanelment process where they said a firm has to be certain empanel. So if I'm okay to continue, sir, shall I continue from here?
Continue. Yes.
One aspect I'll try to take you through is the basic scope of the audits presently what we are performing. Like so far, at least till 2021, the kind of IS audits what we are performing in terms of scope given by RBI or various regulators is to review the controls in terms of adequacy, effectiveness, more specifically with regard to the information systems. Okay, so our process was focused on the regulatory standards, the frameworks, the procedures, the process, how it is impacting the decision making of an entity, how it is supporting the business processes. Okay, that's where all the checklists what we have encountered, or probably the regulatory audits what we have performed, we are going with the checklist driven based on these particular grounds. Okay, so our more of, though it is a CIA triad, which more or less follows in the information security, cyber security, but ultimately when it comes to your data, it also equally plays important. But we are looking in terms of the policies and procedures. Okay. Now the advancement of the scope has gone little beyond. It's not about the policies and procedures. It's also about the standards in the framework what an entity is following. Because globally, these are all accepted and followed, very much followed standards and framework. And if we have to be part of that global network, we have to implement that. That is the reason you are seeing all these changes in terms of CSF, cybersecurity framework and all that. Okay. So that is the main difference. So I've just displayed the general scope, what we usually do in case of IS audit. And this is the scope given by the RB. If you search the scope of IS audit, and this is what we get, wherein we'll be verifying the confidentiality, integrity, and assessing the general controls to ensure the proper functioning and all. Now, we need to understand that slight difference, though more or less we are performing the same, except for the 10-15% additionally in terms of the CSF framework and all. The slight difference is making so much of impact for the reason that there is a difference between these two. Okay. Now, before we go through this, probably I might request Premna sir, because not to lose the interest of participants, what we'll do is we'll display the application of certain.
Yes.
Get into the technical part, then I'll explain what is the importance of IS audit and information systems audit, information security audit. So let me just display the application first. Then from there, we'll take them to the next level.
Can just zoom a little bit. Yeah, fine. Yeah. So this is very much available on CERT-in site. Very much available on the certin.org.in. Then, sir, if you can just show that site website so that we can.
Yeah.
So this is Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT-in is India. And this is where the last tab, that's cyber security assurance, on the last right hand side you have, that is where you can get the and empanelment by CERT-in. And this is where documentation so this is empaneled auditors. What is that empaneled auditor should have? We are reading out the content from the site. What they say is empaneled auditors possess necessary tools, skills, and capabilities to carry out the tasks such as. So don't worry about the tools. Don't worry about the tools. Just to give confidence, immediately I'll just show you so that seeing is believing. Sir, if possible, can you just look at the tools, the first, yes. You can just further, So looking at, you can just look at these. This is the G column, information security audit tools, which are proprietary. You can just expand this G column, sir. Yeah, these are proprietary tools, and you can just expand the F column. Yeah, this is freeware. So let us first look at all the 170. I said, there are 170 listed entities. There are big and small. There are big and small. There are our own friends, our own friend big multinational Big Four CA firms are also there in this. So look at, we'll come back to this little later in a very detailed manner, but just having read about the tools, majority of us may believe, oh, this is not for us, because that is what I have done 2 years back. Every year this is there. 2 years back, I was browsing on the IS, and suddenly it has come to my notice that there is an empanelment which is going to close for IS audits. So I was interested in IS audits. I have gone to that same site. I have gone, and same document I have seen. The moment I have seen the same document, sir, if you can just take me to that document, please. That PDF document where this is the document. This is a document which has around 594 pages of all. This is 170 170 entities which are empaneled. Their resumes are given, and what softwares they are using, it is given. After 2 years back, when I've seen these things, I was literally disturbed. Array, this is not my cup of tea. I've just seen the first name, and I've just seen the work they have done, and I was little disturbed. Oh, this is not my cup of tea. I can't do it, and I've left it. But after Nanda sir, after meeting Nanda sir, and he said, you have to do something for certain, and the chartered accountants and DISA, we have to do something, he said. Then myself and Vijay Srinivas gone into this. Vijay Srinivas is an expert in IS audits. He has done for multinational banks, reviewed systems, and he continues to do that. And he said, oh, this is certain, we can also do it. And that's how we are here. Okay. Sir, take me to the Excel, please. So when we have seen that, there are softwares. Okay. IS certain says you need to have a software. I thought I need to buy it. I need to have a proprietary. Then, sir, if you can just filter on G column. So when I have seen, you can just see here, there are only maximum nine softwares, proprietary softwares are used, maximum. Okay, but how many of them are using this? If you can just count those, select those firms which are using proprietary, maximum 9. There's only one large firm which is using 9. If you can just see the names of, this is Securize, a big one. Okay, if you can just see less than 3, sir, less than 3 or 5. Yeah, okay, right. So how many firms there, sir?
Around 70.
Hardly 17 firms out of 170, meaning 10% of them also doesn't have a proprietary, meaning rest of the 160 firms are working on freeware. Okay, freeware means go to the any site, go to those particular site, download it and start using it. But is it a rocket science? Is it a science where we need to launch a craft to moon? No, it is not a moon launching software or systems we are talking about as of today. Yes, definitely there are 1 or 2 areas where we need to have an expertise. That expertise, chartered accountant need not have it. We can have MDP, that is multidisciplinary firm practice, where we can have an understanding with the multidisciplinary. We'll come back to that a little later. However, that's not a problem. Having said, you need not even search outside for a software engineer today, especially Andhra and Telangana, or or very specific to the South India? Because as I live in South India, I say every South Indian, you tap a door, you will find one software engineer at least. And if that is the case, we already have technical team with us who can help out in carrying out these works. Okay, having said, I've just talked about to give confidence that don't bother about the tools, don't bother about the type of works that we are carrying out. We'll take you through in a very detailed fashion. Sorry, if you can just go back to the same PDF file, sir. Yes. Now coming back to the first, possess necessary tools. I think now by this time the viewers are confident about the tools. Now the skills and capabilities to carry out tasks such as IS security policy review, assessment against security best practices. This is not testing. The first part is only policy review and assess the policy against the security best practices that are there in the world. And how do I carry out this? There are already well drafted checklists, and this is something like our AS2 policy, depreciation policy, expected credit loss providing 109 or 107 or whatever, or impairment testing. They have some policies. We have a checklist based of reviewing. There's something similar to that. We will, you have a security best practices against that best practices in the world, whether the unit which you are going to review has a policy in place. This is what we need to review. For reviewing the IT security policy review, it is only the checklist that we need to have in the initial place. And that checklist with a discussion, with discussion with the users, we run across and try to get the understanding and put a mark that yes, this policy is in place and this policy is the best practice. Okay, but till now I have not done this work. Can I have a ready hands-on experience? Okay, I'm very much interested in this, but after 9 o'clock I want to do this. Immediately after the session I want to do it. How do I do it? Just go to the RBI website, go to income tax website, go to MCA website, go to any government website. You have their security policies written there. Download it, read it, and look at what is the security policy that you have or we have in our office, because every office today have at least two systems, and majority of the offices today have routers, majority of the offices today have servers. In this case, the security policy that is written on their websites and what is that we are doing it, that will be a starting point to get confidence. Yes, I can also do this information security review policy and assess with the best practices. What are the best practices? The websites I have said. These websites, undoubtedly, they will take their best practices, put it on their site, and we can take it and we can start reviewing it from 9 p.m. onwards. We are so much interested onto it. Next, information security testing. I think, Sir Vijay sir, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, basically, I've just added a couple of methodologies what we can adopt and all. But for the sake of participants, let's not get into more technical kind of thing. What our plan is, thanks to Nanda sir for agreeing to that. Once we go through this process of empanelment by the end of this 30th, we'll have a time of 3 months. First 1 month will be for the screening of applications. And here, just to give that confidence, we haven't at least come across the rejection based on something what we have mentioned in the application. We'll also show you the way we'll be filling up the application and all. So rejection will be at the stage of technical evaluation. That is the second phase where They'll be giving a sample to perform certain tests. That is where we are going. That is where we are going to have networking and all. That is where we'll be speaking about how to go procedurally to get into that. But at least the rejection is not in terms of what we provide in the application. So coming to these technical aspects of performing and all, we will not be performing wherever policy review or to an extent of reviewing the work or forming a procedure and reporting that particular, because reporting is also has to be followed with the regulatory. Like say, for example, we are speaking about certain empanelment, not to perform any high level audit. This is a basic requirement which is imposing on us to get into any kind of basic IS audit of banks or insurance or any kind of SEBI companies and all. So that is the reason we are trying to empanel ourselves to at least retain what we are doing as of now as DISA, as part of DISA. But to get into that, there is a process. That's what we are trying to address. But technical aspects, not to worry, because definitely DAB is going to help you out. Once we get through this particular process of application, we'll have something like presently what's happening today for the non-technicals, the sessions what being conducted by DAB for 3 day on the non-technical persons. We'll have something of 3 day workshop purely addressing how to take care of these particular technical areas. So we'll have faculties, trainers from the industry who are doing this. We'll have a 3 day workshop. We'll do hands-on to understand how this is to be performed, and that also not learning to perform by ourselves. Basically, to understand the reporting aspect, we'll have a technical guy taking care of that. But by having an understanding of this knowledge, I'll be in a position to review the reporting. I'll be in a position to understand what's the feedback, how to address that, how to report it to the client. This is what. So technically, each of this is being listed. This, of course, we'll be sharing with the DAP so that all the participants can get this details as well. So each of that particular activity, what is the purpose for which, and going back.
I think Vijay sir, you can just take us through one of the areas. Give confidence.
Maybe. Say for example, network security audit. I mean, if I have to speak technically network security audit, one thing is I need to understand the network related protocols. There will be various protocols like SNMP, all those aspects. And there'll be within that, again, there'll be updation mechanism. Like, we have a CVE where they keep on sharing. I mean, just technically what exactly CVE is, if someone has gone through any of the router related reports, you would have come across terms like CVE, CVSS and all. This is nothing but common vulnerabilities, which any company, like say, for example, Cisco router you have, or you have some IP related, D-Link related router. So they've come across some vulnerability. They'll capture that as part of definition that they'll report to the first. There is a task force which is managing all this data. So that data will be a learning process. So that will come back to our tool, what we are testing. I'll also show a small demo, how a vulnerability assessment tool will be looking like and all. So there, what we'll be looking is that tool will run this network security audit on the configuration. Based on that, based on the vulnerabilities what defined already, like CVE or based on CVSS, that is scoring of common vulnerabilities. Based on that, it will give a report of high, medium, low risk from 1 to 10 rating. So as an auditor, I just need to pull out that particular report, put in my report saying these are the high risk areas, medium risk areas, low risk areas. So technically, what is that, whether it is being updated, whether the patch updation has happened, all this, my technical associate will take care. As an auditor, I'll be seeing whether that is being defined, how to report by using the format what the regulator has provided. All these aspects will be looking. Say, for example, in this case, as I was mentioning, this is basically to review what are the policies, application, operating systems which are passing through this particular network. So if I have to list down what are the steps, obviously, first of all, you list down all the devices what are forming part of definition of network, all the systems, routers, and all that aspects, including service providers. Once I that, I'll identify, okay, to perform and review, what kind of tool I'll be using. As Prema sir was mentioning, there are many open source tools. Of course, Nmap Wireshark might be a subscription model which gives for a limited time of 1 week, 10 days of time. That's fine. There are also open source tools which can be used continuously. As we have seen the list of tools also, more or less, we have many open source tools which we can trust because we'll be running the tool at our end. will not be running it in their website. We'll not be doing online kind of. Okay. So for example, in this case, we'll use file save as. Is it not? If I'm saying Excel file, I'll be saying file save as. Or if I have to save some document, I'll be using file save as. Same way a router will have, like say, if you go to your IP configuration, 192.168 and all, once you log into that, there you'll have a configuration file. You just save as the particular configuration. What it carries is it will capture all the user details, how they have registered, what is the IPv network they are using, 4 or 6, whatever. All those details, the file will copy. I just need to pull that file, dump into my tool. It will run the entire assessment. It will give a report. This is what ultimately. So where it plays an important role is of technologies or technical guys to identify which tool to be used for what. That is not our area. As I said, we'll be having technical guy handling it. My area is just to follow the steps what we are mentioning over here, because that's what the regulator is expecting, and that is the reason for that matter RBI approaching ICA for the kind of procedures what we follow, or the kind of reporting what we follow, or the kind of mechanism in terms of regulating or disciplinary or reporting mechanism what we follow. So there are series of steps: identify the network, identify the tool, configure the tool. Like say if it is a network based, what is that? If it is a web based, what is that configuration I have to do? Configuration is, for example, I am doing a NIST based review. Okay. Or if I am doing something with regard to the ISO related. So I need to mention that in the configuration. I said, okay, I want to test based on the NIST. So I'll be enabling that NIST based configuration. I need to check that. Okay. So that's where the configuration comes in. Then obviously how frequently I have to done, probably in a given period of time, I'll be doing it a particular traffic. In a particular frequency, I'll be doing it one time. Maybe another time I'll be probably listing out 3 or 4 different time frames. Accordingly, I'll be performing my scan to compare the data between these 3 or 4. Then obviously using the file and all. Ultimately, it comes back to the interpretation. Interpretation, as we have seen, just to show you a sample of the file, what kind of file this. Of course, I'll again show you the way the tool will be used in a simplest possible way. When this is how usually it displays the risk profile and all that information. I just need to get this data, refine it, and put in my respective reporting. Okay. Now, so interpretation results, whatever identified, whatever results we have identified, we'll document that. And ultimately, the follow-up is, like say, if in case it is in work in progress, or if it has to be reviewed back again, that will be falling into my follow-up audit action, wherein I might be visiting if the scope permits, or accordingly, the management has to take care of that follow-up action. Okay. So this is about one of such activity network. Within this, again, couple of activities.
Sir, before we go on,
yeah.
If the moderator or Mr. Ashok technical support, if there are any questions, if you can just share it so that we can take it up immediately, and then that will be relevant at the time of same discussion we can go on. So as and when there is a question, the technical support team and Akriti madam can kindly log in, and then you can walk in and then give us those questions. We can start answering at the same time. So the viewers also can keep sending the questions. We'll try to answer it then and there. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So likewise, within this, again, this list of audits, few are very much familiar to us, the compliance related audits. Like say, if I say compliance, SEBI has come up with a concept paper, RBI has come up with a cybersecurity framework, IRDA has come up with. So there they are defined saying that, no, these are the domains which should be there: IT audit, IS audit, outsourcing, governance. Okay, so I just need to ensure that those frameworks are being part of my policy, as part of my standard, and how it is being implemented within the definition of my business process. Okay, this is what regularly ITGC we already done by as part of IFC. Okay, so out of this list also already four or five are very much familiar with us. And just to highlight the kind of also one area, one aspect what we have observed is when it comes to empanelment. Earlier it used to be like CISA or DISA. Now the empanelment process, I'll also show a sample where they are saying whether certain empaneled or a CISA. Okay. So if you see the domains, what we have come across both in CISA and DISA, more or less they're same. In fact, sometimes I felt DISA is little more complicated because practically the kind of questioning pattern and all, the way it is being designed in the projects and all compared to CISA. But why CISA is gaining importance over us is first they are into that particular practice straight away. I mean, being DISA qualified, this is only my additional qualification for the sake of empanelment or for the sake of some regulatory requirement. I've done this, but as not a passion or not with an intention saying that I am going to be a systems auditor. That is one difference what it is making when it comes to CISA and DISA. Second is the kind of continuous professional education what they follow, model what they follow, 40 minimum hours. If you don't comply with, you're losing your certificate. Again, you have to appear for that. And the kind of importance what they are given to a couple of domains like protection of information assets, which plays almost like 25% of the entire examination pattern and all. That is where the information security is being considered for CISA kind of. Okay. So we need to develop that kind of confidence saying that no, CISA is not just an additional qualification, because to retain any of the current audits, example of audit trial, if someone who is not having any DISA, not having any technical background, can you imagine how he will be performing or whom he will be relying on when it comes to audit trial? So he has to equip with that. Similarly, the kind of RBI bank audits, the way it is coming up, okay, or the kind of talk what it is going on with an XBRL will be there, which will be integrating all the 3 filings maybe in a couple of years. So with these challenges, unless I enter into mainstream of technology, I no more it's a supporting, it's a mainstream. Okay, to retain my domain, I need to have also equally important knowledge about the technology, and that is where we are coming into this. So just to come back to this particular file, not much of complications when it comes to understanding, but still we are planning for a very good hand-holding method of providing technical workshops and all to understand the process of this audit. Okay. Now to move ahead, let's go back to the application part. And any questions, sir? As you are mentioning, like if someone has any questions and all, kindly
No,
post.
sir, there are no questions as of now. They are just asking for the data, the PPT and the Excel. They're
Sure,
asking
sure.
for.
That we'll share
Okay.
in. We'll share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
here, sir, let's take them
Yeah.
through application form, and wherever
Yes.
technique is required, I'll jump in.
Right. Right. So this is organization name, then address, URL. These are all KYC related issues. Now it asks, are you from India or any other you have locations? No. Then whether organization is a subsidiary of any multinational, not required. One thing before we go on, one thing we need to strongly remember is it is not asking, it is not saying that you need to have a prior must and should, you need to have an experience to file this application, because we'll demonstrate few of the firms which got registered or with very least experience and resources they could able to go in. This you can, once if you are able to look at the 170 profiles that are there put in place, if you can just go through that, you will understand that gives us confidence, and hence that is what I'm again and again reiterating, that we all can do it. Next, as I said, it is 5,000 rupees DD you need to take. This we can take it, of course, not tomorrow or today. Tomorrow is again second Saturday. Latest by Monday, Tuesday, you can start taking it. Then information security related audit activities are being carried out continuously by our organization from, if you ask me, my particular case or Mr. Vijay Srinivas, we have been doing it from 2010 onwards and before that. 10 and before, because we have SAP audits, and then we were there in CBS and so on and so on and all, migrations and all. And we are continuously on that. And every chartered accountant has reviewing the systems without knowing that he is reviewing, without knowing the technical most of the time, or permit me to say most of the time, or at least sometimes, without knowing that we are carrying out IT general controls, we are doing it. As a user or as a auditor, on both sides, we continue to do this. So writing the 14th serial number 14, writing down serial number 14, answering serial number 14 is not a tough thing. Okay, do we need to document to them? At this point of time, it is not required to document. Submit a documentation support that I have been doing it from 2000 or 1946 or whatever it is. It is nothing. They are not asking to submit a documentation. So we know from when we are doing it. I'm confident that I can speak on it. I can write this. Then information security audit methodologies that we have carried out. What are all we have done it? What are all we have done it? I can just write down. And what are all people have done it? Or 170 people, what they have done it? If I can know what they have done it, if I can look at what they have done it, I can relate. I have also done this. I have done this. I have done this, but not as a contract. Yes, may not be as a contract, but yes, I have done it. But yes, I have a knowledge of doing this. Yes, I know this. I can do this. Yes, we can get trained into these things. So, can we just look into those areas for a while as to what 170 people have done?
So here, let me also add that
Yeah.
in the list of entities,
Right.
we have come across a couple of entities which has at the time of empanelment. Let's say, for example, they have empaneled in the year 2020. There they have mentioned continuous audits are being performed from March 2020. That means in the same year, maybe just a couple of months before, they have started doing this activity. So that is also possible that you might be doing or may not be doing. If you are doing that, you'll be mentioning even if it is the recent past, maybe 1 month or 2 months or old, there is no bar or mentioning. Because just to explain, probably at the end, we'll also discuss, depending on the questions what we come across, the application form is a mechanism where they are trying to find out who is interested, first of all. It's not about what you have done or whether you have already past experience and all. They want to identify, they want to have people who are interested in getting empaneled to do the audits from now onwards to the future.
Yeah.
It's not about what you have done earlier. Okay. So ultimately, the testing and all will be the main criteria. That means once you give an application, how the technical examination is passed, that's, as I said, will be attempted by a technical guy on our behalf, whatever it is. So ultimately, it's about the future, not about the past. So even if you have done recently, okay, or if you have not done, you can just mention it openly, because at least the first phase will not restrict you to enter. At least it will take you to the next level of testing technical. Okay. Pardon me?
A video on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about technically how you are preparing yourself for the future kind of audits. Okay. So here, just to go to that list of audits. So here, Prema sir has listed down a couple of, in fact, both we have identified a couple of audits. These are the list of audits provided by those empaneled 150 entities, which they said they have already done this. Okay. So funny side is someone has mentioned even the financial audit also as part of that, which shows that the application is just a carrier of a KYC, which says that someone is interested to get a panel. It's not about validation to perform an audit or kind of thing. Okay, so that also we'll see. So we have listed down these number of audits. In fact, if we go little slighter, those who have done bank branch audit, it will go another. We can add another 20. You can get into more technical also, because you would have done access management or logical access kind of thing. But we have restricted a couple of things which purely as an CA with a DSO qualification, what we would have done performed this. Okay, this authorized agency KYC audit and all. Someone who have done the bank related audit, they would have done this particular KYC audit also. That AUA, KUA, nothing but those kind of audits. Okay. Now, these are the list of those 40 audits which you have already done as part of your IFC ITGC, or as part of your bank audit, or as part of your bank IS audit, bank branch related IS audit. Okay. So just to give a comfort, we have identified those kind of things. And also to mention here, maybe a couple of interesting points, what we have identified in the empanelment is, we have entities, those who have hardly started their activity. As I said, one example is 2020, they have empaneled in the 2020 only. We have entities where if you see the application form, they said that they have suggested to have at least one CASSP and one or ISO 27001 lead auditor certified. Okay, so they said this is preferably two personnel must possess. But here we have identified that very few, in fact, maybe out of 150, around 80 or odd had one or other, even not even two. Majority of them, they have mentioned DISA, CISA qualified, MTech qualified, CEH, certified ethical hacker. Okay, all those qualifications, very few had managed to have two personnel having CASSP and leader. So that shows that this is not mandatory. They are preferring. It's not mandatory that if only that you have someone, it is more preferable that you will be in an advantageous position to be successful kind of. But going by the list of empanelment, which you can very much download from the website and you yourself can view the kind of qualification. If you leave the initial 10, 15 cream, the rest of all the latest empanel right from 2019 onwards, if you see the technical person or maybe 4 or 5, they would have used the entire open source tool only, not even one proprietary tool. They have done hardly 2 or 3 types of audits out of those 9 listed kind of audits. Or they have mentioned somewhere, it actually asks for the details of persons who have performed the audit, and also asks for who will be performing the audit in the future. So there we have come across clauses saying that it's confidential, we will not be disclosing in the application form. Once we reach the personal interview level, there we will disclose. So that facility, in the sense, if you don't want to disclose your personal details or names of your auditees or clients, those to whom you have performed your systems audit, it is very much permitted to mention that, saying that we will not be disclosing at this point of time. At the time of personal interview, whatever is required, all the documents and all will be producing at that stage. It's not that everything has to be compiled as of. Okay, so that's the facility. As I said, application level, it's not that no, it will be rejected prima facie because you are not complying, because it's not barring someone to apply. It is not restricting someone to apply, saying that unless you have CASSP, you are eligible to apply. No. Okay, this is the preference what they have given. So it makes you, it enables us, whatever audit you have done, 1 or 2 audits what you have done, DISA related audit, you can mention that, and whoever DISA qualified you have, one aspect. Second, if in case you already have some tie-up with any other entity, like say you would have entered, maybe your client has requested a systems audit, considering, of course, it doesn't fall into conflict as per the FAQ, wherein if I'm performing a statutory audit, it doesn't bar me to perform systems audit, which is very much provided in the FAQ. But even in spite of that, let's say you said the systems audit will be handled by some other entity, where you have an MOU of confidentiality and all that aspects. So that is also part of your team, is it not? So you can mention this, because that is going to continue based on by virtue of MOU. If you go to the one question of 18, it says whether outsourcing the information security audit work to external security agency or other information, so and so, so and so. So you would have done that. You can mention yes. Yes, we have outsourcing. We have outsourced, and probably we will be outsourcing down the lane also. So confidently you mention. So that scope is also available here. It doesn't bar that you only have to do this or you only should have all the capabilities, because certain things, I may not have a particular capability. VAPT and all, it's of course pretty simple nowadays. But couple of frameworks, if I have to comply with, my open source tool or my capability may not be enough. So I might have to enter into MOU with them. So that I can mention over here and say, yes, at the time of personal interview, whatever MOU, the contract, it shows that I have more what you call control on the agency with regard to confidentiality and all, that I can demonstrate with it. Okay. Now coming back to here.
Yeah, just a moment. It's not kindly keep it in mind. One thing that If I once registered in certain, it doesn't mean that I must and should do VAPT audit. No, it doesn't say that. Because not all IS audit scope requires that to be done. Maybe some organization wants to review their migration audit. As I said in my opening remark, that migration audit doesn't require any kind of tools except for an Excel kind of a thing. So for that small work, they are asking certain. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is, not all information security, cyber security audit scope requires that tremendous amount of skill sets. If because of that kind of attitude or a mindset, I have lost this empanelment 2 years back. Now I've realized I need to go into it at any point of time, because remember, again, I'm reiterating again and again, don't be under the impression that after getting empaneled into certain, I will do, or the authorities will ask me to do VAPT. No, it's very clear. It is very clear that some of the organizations may ask, some of them may ask, review IT general controls and give me a report. Some of them may ask only do application controls, network controls, policies. Someone may ask you to just draft me the policies and give me, but you need to be a certain registered. So what I'm trying to say is, don't be under the impression that you need to know every tool. Don't be under the impression that you have to carry out all these kinds of, don't be under the impression that I must and should have all the knowledge of all this technologies and all. No, practicing in income tax, sorry to say, some time I can't file 35 appeal process. I need to rely on someone. I can't do GST reconciliations. I need to rely on someone. I can do something in an audit. Similar way, it is time that we need to get networked. I just give a very small example. As you start walking from your house to the office, you will find so many push carts selling idlis or selling snacks on the road, who get registered with Swiggy. Meaning, I, as a very small vendor today, I am getting empaneled with Swiggy or Zomato or an online app platform. I'm just getting registered. Meaning, I'm integrating with a logistics operator. I'm integrating with a banker. I'm integrating with a seller. I'm integrating with an advertiser. I'm integrating with X, Y, and Z. Being what? Being a very small time vendor at a street corner, not even having 30,000 per month turnover. I'm just getting integrated, and then I'm trying to increase my turnover, leverage the technologies. Frankly speaking, how many of the chartered accountants are getting integrated, wherein our code of conduct permits to do this? How many of us getting integrated to deliver the services or to take the leverage of technology? This is a time where I want to get integrated, and the multidisciplinary practice today permits us to do this. That we can, like every house, I said in South India, every house has one software engineer, and you can tap one door. Randomly you tap a door, you'll find a software engineer. Now, why can't we get just integrated, process through this certain, demonstrate skills, and start getting the work? Because the other side of the practice is getting evaporated fast, and this is the only thing that we can do it now. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, there's also a question for you.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
He's asking, what are the chances of getting the assignment for a proprietary firm? He is a CA with SIA and CISA qualification, and he also has a person with technical qualification to help him.
See, ultimately, the chances, just like what are the chances of some young qualified starting his practice in terms of whatever domain he is practicing? I mean, we can't predict the chances to survive. Whatever we are speaking about, here is not to get a chances to survive or to at least retain what we are doing. Okay, as you are saying, chances are pretty much more because you are obviously skilled with the latest technology. You are having more qualifications in terms of dealing with the technology. Now that every regulator, for that matter, if you see, no, all most more or less all regulators have come with a framework, various framework, information security framework. So if they are saying that the person who is performing, say for example, down the lane, let's assume that SEBI has made this concept paper. Now already they have released the concept paper, which is of course the date is closed. The cyber security framework, once they have released, they are saying that all the listed companies has to comply with the cyber security framework. By chance, if they say that because the entire controls are passing through this particular framework, if they say that a person who is performing a financial audit or the team must also have someone who is qualified in this area like CISA and all. So you are there already not to lose what you are doing present. Okay, so you already possess that particular qualification not to lose any of the activity, or you might come thanks to this Digital Privacy Act, what we have DPDPA, which is opening up various roles in terms of data auditor, data protection officer, and all. And also, I would probably take this name of proposed Digital India Act, which of course it's pending. They have demonstrated the Digital India Act, which is going to revamp the entire IT Act. Okay, so once we come across these kind of new acts, it will also open up the new areas because to comply with the regulatory requirements, someone has to certify saying that this entity is complying. So obviously they will not look up to some normal, a general qualified. They'll be looking for a special qualified like CISA or technical. So you are building up your chances, though you are a proprietor, you are building up your chances. Being a proprietor, the advantage is now that let's assume that in your area or in your where you have done an articles, they are by virtue of this session, they get a confidence saying that okay, they want to empanel with certain. You can give your name as a network associate with an MOU. Okay, you can be part of that team whom they are trying to empanel. So there is nothing like proprietary and all. Your value is already very much there. Okay, if you can't apply individually, you can be a part of some other network, lend your name. Okay, be part of the team and let them empanel, consider your name as part. So you have every chance because you have technically qualified. You have a team of technically qualified people. So you're increasing your chances of getting opportunities and also retaining your existing practice. Sir, you want to add something?
Yeah. You can just demonstrate, if possible, some firms' websites, if possible, if you have readily, so that gives some amount of confidence to the new young CS.
Maybe it may not be. I have one of interesting website. It goes with. I think I've captured that name. I'll just with a spur of moment, I'll just try to refer to that. There is one website called Legal Raj. Okay, why I'm referring to this website is there are partners who are advocates, basically the directors in that particular partners in that particular firm, and there are partners who are doctors also in this particular website. So they are doing VAPT. They have provided in this website saying that they are going to provide VAPT service. Now you can imagine an advocate and a doctor, a firm having these two, are providing services which is completely out of, I mean, at least for us, we have somewhere done through ITGC or we have done through access control related audits and all. But we have someone who is totally out of nowhere related to this particular activity. They are saying that they are going to perform this VAPT and all. They have provided their fee details and all the papers, whatever is required. So I'm saying that this is the area where it doesn't restrict what kind of practices, no, especially when it comes to information technology. It's already integrated within your client place or within your own office. You're only providing additional services in terms of reviewing them and giving your opinion in that area. Okay, so maybe it may not be a right this thing to refer to any of them, but I'm saying just to give a booster kind of thing. There are I'll probably demonstrate. I'll show one quickly run through one eligibility criteria. I'm not sure how many of you have approached the IRDA, this thing where it clearly says that a CA firm is eligible, okay, where it is in continuous practice for 5 years, and at least a DISA or CISA is qualified. At least one partner should be a fellow member kind of thing. So I'm saying there are these facilities very much available. You just need to keep open, search for your opportunities. Maybe one area is get into LinkedIn kind of network, professional network, where you'll come through one or other professional who is probably looking for a helping hand or kind of thing. So young members has very much open opportunity. The only thing is that you shouldn't be in a area saying that no, I entire thing should be under my control. No, because initially to set up your practice, the best way is probably lend your services, maybe some if required, free of cost, whatever, to get into that area, get experience. Thereby, you are proving your quality, getting into network with the bigger firms, and also building your opportunity in terms of profile also. Okay. So young members definitely they have. It's only that you need to explore. Okay, now let me just go back to.
Sir, we have one more question. Is it necessary to have a COP for empanelment on certain?
See, it doesn't require. It's nowhere mentions about the CA form. It's only entity. If you go to the application form, the first it speaks about organization. There is no definition and of organization. It could be proprietary organization. It could be firm, LLP, company, and all. Okay. So nowhere it is required about COP or someone should be in a practice kind of thing. Even if you are someone freelancing, okay, without a COP, and you have a team of people who can perform this. Okay. So maybe you have to have a formal agreement because no, obviously you're going as a collective individual. So you need to have a formal agreement as a LLP or firm or a company kind of thing. So it's nowhere related to nothing. It speaks about someone should be in practice kind of, because all the entities, those who have registered, more or less, they are either partnership firms or companies kind of thing. More of partnership firms. Like if you see associates and co, so and so, so on.
Now, to give more confidence on, because the certain site has already given the data of existing entities in a PDF file, which we have tried to put it into Excel and then analyze it. I just demonstrate to you so that you will get confidence. Yes, I can also do it. Sir, if you can just take us through the certain empanelment sheet. Yeah. Not this one. The first sheet, very first one. Yeah. Right. So this we have already demonstrated to you. D column has manpower. D column has manpower. You can just see, yeah. Okay, most of the CA firms will be at 5 to 10. Let's take very least one.
Probably let's filter down to small ones and
smaller one, yeah.
That will be better.
Yes.
Medium.
Oh yeah, medium, and then in medium manpower with less than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many firms are there, sir?
Around 26 firms.
Yeah. Meaning almost it is again 72, almost 20% of the firms of registered firms, you have small firms. Furthermore, someone was asking, should it be a proprietary or only private limited and so on? You can just exclude those in the names. Just look at and co.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can just see some of them are CA firms. You can also see that, but the total number of CA firms are very less.
Yeah, probably I'll just try to do a sample of this. Let's check, say for example, this entity Nangia and Co LLP. Let's because this is in a public domain, so I can try to find out what their profile is, kind of thing. So this is more like a tax consultant, tax advisor.
Not
Still,
even
they,
a CA firm.
yeah, not a CFO, but still they are empaneled with certain. Okay, so they are empaneled with certain. So at least CA, we are saying that no, we are part of this, but some entities which are into tax consultancy are empaneled with certain. So ultimately, what confidently what we can say is certain is a nodal agency. Okay, this is created to maintain a register of those entities who are performing this kind of audits. Okay, so being a nodal agency under the Ministry MEIQI, what it captures is whoever is interested in performing the audits, it's maintaining a register of those. So this application is a medium through which we are expressing our interest, saying that we are interested in doing. So as to reiterate what I was mentioning about, it's not about your experience, it's about your passion, it's about your team which is willing to do, and it's about your capability to do this activity. So this application purely speaks about that area. I mean, what is your team? What are the ways what are the tools you are going to use, or how you are going to perform? And that's where we are trying to address that. Of course, when it comes to tools and all, we already mentioned about open source tools, which is very much available in the market. And about the team size is also not a matter. I mean, you might have 4 or 5 people, like we have filtered down the list, where we have around 4 to 5 qualified personnel also. Okay, this we are speaking about, sorry, this is tools. It's about 4 to 5 manpower with 4 to 5 manpower having technical skills to have this. So those kind of entities are also registered. So I'm saying about not even the number. If one is registered, there is an option. I mean, there is a way. If one entity which says that there are only 2 or 3 people or maybe 4 people and they are using open source tool, still they got empaneled. That means there is a way. It's only that how you are going to get it, how you are going to prove that, and that's where your entire team composition, your understanding about this thing, or going through the process of that interview and all, that is going to play a key role. Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Again, at the cost of reputation, I say, don't bother about all these issues. Let's apply for it. Let's apply and face it. So it's not that you have a time on 30th September. By that, yes, I will do it. And in the application, most of the applications which are the uh, profiles which are on the site, if you can just scan through carefully, you will find when they are asking for certain information, they are mentioned in the application that we'll share it at the time of interview, being confidential. Now, when I have such kind of an option, let me risk. Not even risk. I have done everything. I have a team of people. I said my neighbor is an information technology. We can enter into an agreement. We can demonstrate that we can do it. It's at the cost of 5,000 rupees. Let me try this because I have missed this opportunity 2 years back. Having worked, our firm being 30 years, our firm being 30 years old firm with big audits. I've not gone such a deeper into it, into the profiles. I've just seen one profile and then backed out. If someone like me could have helped me at 2 years back, today I would have been in a different place altogether. And again, at the cost of repetition, I say that the SEBI today has 35,000 audits to be carried out as per the new concept paper, which will come out in sooner or later, maybe in 1 month or 2 months of time. That concept paper comes out, and immediately 35,000 audits have to be carried out. IS audits. There are only 17, 170, and huge opportunities waiting for us. So I say, open up this application, take 5,000 rupees, and start looking at what best you can do it. What best you can do it at every place. We can just talk about. We can again go back to the same application slowly, and if members have, sir, if you have, sir, what should I write here? I have only this. Is this possible? Yes. Anyone have questions on 14? Yes, you can send the questions on 14. 15, we have just now shown you how much you can do in 15. Like 94. Sir, you can just take us through the that same old Excel sheet, please. Yeah. So that number of audits. Yes, let's just slowly, we'll run through slowly. You can just magnify it a little bit, sir. Yeah. On the left hand side. Yes, accessibility testing, is it not within access management? Sir, in our own office, we have a tally online. Many people use it, and there are access rights have been created, and we know whom to restrict. And most of us are carrying out tally from COVID, online tally we are doing it, on net tally we are doing it, and clients have given access rights. Any desk we are carrying out, remote desk audits we are carrying out. We have access rights to it. We are auditing it. We are raising questions on it. And can't we do this? A small one. Maybe, maybe down the lane, maybe down the lane, one of the companies may ask, can you do an access management review and give a report? But you should be certain, because the SEBI says, RBI says, IRDA says, or some other regulator is saying that you should be certain, but I need access management review. I can do it. I can very well do it. I don't need any big tools to do this. I only have to look at the logbook and the controls on the logbook, access rights, whether it can be editable, integrity issues. I can look into it and then comment on it. And for that, I can do it as a proprietor. It need not be a private limited company. I can be as a proprietor, chartered accountant, can do this access management audits, accessibility testing, antivirus, application malware scan, application security. What are all, again, it is physical or logical access application security, who can log in, who cannot log in, from where he can log in, and application security audits for government institutions in healthcare sector. I hope our memories are very clear with respect to something happened in Delhi hospital where certain data is compromised, and there was a hue and cry on it. Not more, the memories, you need not go back to more than 2 months of your memory, and it's well reported. And in that sense, and those kind of application or protocols or the framework is not a very big one, which you can read it and put with a checklist and do it. More than that, more than anything, at 30,000 rupees, sorry to say, at 30,000 rupees, we review the total transactions of, we have seen the corporate, 2-3 days back, we have seen one chartered accountant certified listed companies with a turnover of 15 crores at 30,000 rupees. Maybe that audit might have taken 3-4 months of time. Listed company means every quarter we need to go, and every quarter we need to certify, and audit is there, GST audit, income tax audit, all that he has done for 30,000 rupees. And not less than 3 months or 2 months he would have spent their time and got 30,000 rupees. Now, is this kind of work what we are trying to do? Is it months and months together? Do I need to travel? Do I need to travel hard to get this? Do I need to stay there? No. You just call the records over net. Look at the policy review. Policy review, a policy document is sent to you. You need not physically go there. Look at, read it, sit in one corner. As he sends within 3-4 days, you can read it and come down to a conclusion. Compare that with the standards, global standards which are prevailing, and you can mark it and write down in no time. You have never traveled, you have just read it, and there's a fees is 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, and so on. Why I'm talking again and again about the same issue is to give confidence that not all the IS audit, yes, there are certain viewers, they disagree with me because some of them might have done, some of the chartered accountants might be the viewers today, might have done high-end cyber security audits, forensic testing, digital forensics, they might have done it. But today I'm not looking at those kind of areas. I'm just starting, I'm just stepping in. Let me not look into that big monster and get frightened and run away from the cyber security audit opportunities. So that's the reason why I'm taking you through very detailed line by line. I'm just taking you through what is that we can do and what kind of skill sets that you need to have as a single chartered accountant. It's not that you need to have a very big group of members to carry out this. Then coming back again, there are already frameworks. You read the framework, start doing it. Yes, you may say, sir, immediately I want to look at the SEBI's framework and wanted to know where do I get it. Sir, if I can just take the help of Vijay Srinivasan, and then you can just take us through a Google, like a layman, if you can just take us through the Google, like SEBI concept paper, how we can download it and what we can see. And just for the sake of confidence, yes, can I do it or not today?
Okay, you're saying about the recent
Yeah, recent SEBI NEST
maybe
based on NEST. You just try to, as a layman, after this session, I want to download it
okay.
and start reading it and understand it.
I was not prepared for this, so
Yeah. Yeah. You got it already.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, this is what it is. You just take us through.
Let me just try to download it and zoom it.
Yes.
I think I've already downloaded it, but
You have already, yeah, okay. Or else you have already done a excellent research on it. You can just take us through that also. That will be fine. Once you can just demonstrate this, and then let's take us through the Excel and then filter it, and then you can demonstrate it.
yeah, 1 second. Let me just quickly try to identify.
Right. Madam, meanwhile, any questions there, please?
No, sir, no more questions as of now.
See, basically, this cybersecurity concept paper, it's more or less it's about NIST prior to the current version. The draft of NIST, what they have mentioned, the governance part, leaving that part. Rest of all the 5 aspects about identifying and all those things, protecting, identifying, and all that is being part of this. I mean, if someone has understood the NIST framework, NIST CSF, it's more or less the same thing, except for a couple of changes what they are trying to incorporate in SEBI. So you can even browse through NIST concept paper. Many resources are lying in the Google explaining about how the NIST framework works. Simple flyers are also available. So this is about a entity having these 5 domains incorporated as part of their cybersecurity framework, where it speaks about. Let me just try to open up the Excel sheet.
So this concept paper is going to open up 35,000 audits yearly, whereas only 175 are there ready to carry out this. They are listed only, but we don't know how many of them are really interested in carrying out this. That's the potential waiting for us.
So this is basically right straight away from the NIST kind of framework. Of course, me, our Chennai Narasimhan Nilakavan and all, we are part of this team where we have given our ideas to share with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. But leaving apart that, probably I'll take you to one simple reporting format. Maybe many of you would have already done that in as part of your bank branch audit. Let me show you the sample of that so that you can understand. So someone who has done a bank branch level IS audit, they would have they are familiar with this kind of format, where the reporting will be speaking about the access management, the physical security, the password management. These are all the questions what we have addressed in a small bank branch related IS audit. Okay, and those who have done, they would have also known the kind of fee what we are doing this for. Okay, but still, these are the things which are also forming part of your information security, or more or less what we are dealing with in the, as part of this certain empanelment. Okay. So anything I've done access control, I've done operational control, hardware control, software control, all these as part of my bank branch IS audit. Because I've done by virtue of this experience, what I've done, it is very much eligible to be quoted in the application form what we are discussing, saying that yes, I've done this. Okay, so simple kind of format. Of course, this also how we can list down is probably the way I follow is probably take up the regulatory framework and draft that particular scope. You split that entire scope into point wise. What are the clauses it is asking about? And based on that scope, once you divide that entire scope into point wise, you yourself will come across. You yourself can design what kind of questionnaire it should be. Okay, and once I draft a questionnaire, I'll just check whether this is being implemented at the branch. What is an evidence? If it is a policy level, I'll be looking for a document. Or if it is an implementation level, I'll be looking for the devices, systems, the logs, or the way it is being implemented. Logically, I'll have a list of all those users or whatever it is. I'll go through the evidences in terms of going to the configuration, capturing the screenshots, or capturing the details of configuration if required, converting that into PDF file kind of thing. But ultimately, the framework, whatever we are speaking about, the RBI framework or city related framework, the framework itself is a guide for us to perform an audit. You study that particular.
Before I forget, sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Before I forget, as I said, it is not like a financial audit where I need to go through each and every document and transaction and express an opinion. No. As on today, an institution asks me to review it. Number one, I'll review the policy. Number two, as on today, what is going on there, or a particular period, or based on the log, I'll carry out this. But I'll not be running through thousands and thousands of documents that as we do it in the tax, as we do it in tax audit or in any other financial audit. No. The review is limited to very all that review will be on soft copies only, soft copy review. Most of the tools are able to do it. I think Vijay Srinivas can demonstrate a Nipper, a tool which scans through the router transactions and then throws at in 2 minutes of time that the report is made available, and then it's just it's you need to take just 1 day of time to draft a report, nothing more. Report is already done. You only have to review it with the technical expertise, and that's the end of it. And it's a huge revenue involved in it, and the tools are already available. I think if possible, you can demonstrate, and then you can come back to the same page.
See, basically, the reason for demonstrating this is just to say that this is not something a rocket.
This is a open source.
Yeah, it is of course expires. It has a limited period of subscription, and the cost is also minimal. If I have to go for it, I think $40 a month. If in case I have to follow this, and you have many, for that matter, you have hundreds of tools. I mean, just to give a fair idea about the way sometimes we need to use the technologies. For example, let's say if someone has given you a assignment to perform a VAP, and you don't know, you are empaneled. Say for example, you got empaneled, but you have a technical person, but you also want to understand how it goes. The best way is you already have this open source available. You have your ChatGPT, Bard, or Bing and all. Pose in a question, okay, just mention or pose in a question saying that what are the series of steps I need to perform? I mean, what are the open source tools available? How to review, read a report? What is CVE? What is CVSS? What is SNMP? You have many such. You just keep digging into that by spending the continuous, more of unstructured kind of learning. You're spending more and more time. You yourself get acquainted. You yourself can understand what a technical process is. Okay, how to validate it, how to use a tool. Tool itself provides how to. I mean, you have this getting started. You're provided with the video support. They'll provide with the technical support if in case. Okay. Ultimate.
You can just demonstrate on the board how we can get the data of this tools at all.
Yeah, pretty much, sir. I can just use. Why we are trying to do this again? Maybe a few people might be not so comfortable with this, especially technical experts and all. But
Right.
Why you are trying to do this is just to create that comfort to a common people, saying that no, this doesn't require. I mean, I can still go ahead. Okay. Uh,
It is on Bing Microsoft browser.
yeah. And also, I was sharing this yesterday also during as part of one session. The way I use these artificial intelligence is, if in case parallelly, of course, we'll not be using directly depending on this. We'll be using parallelly apart from my regular kind of thing. I'll also try to check whether it is in line with the artificial intelligence, because obviously it has more research data available with it. So the way we do is perform this, use the chat GPT, then use the same in maybe Bard kind of thing, integrate those two, put it into Bing to find out whether the information is correct, because as we know, it throws up with a couple of false information. And also using all these three, I can at least identify those common areas which are very much. Then I'll use that as my resource, go through the material what I have, or go through the various domains and see what I can get out of it. And that will be my notes. Okay, that will be my experience, which will be helping out, of course, apart from the regular guide. So this you can just keep continuing. I mean, what should be the format of contact? If I'm using RPA, what could be this thing? Okay, we will not be depending on this, as I was saying. It's only a supporting which will validate what we are doing. Okay. Now coming back, this is one of the tools which will be used for vulnerability assessment. Basically, penetration testing, which we do in a live scenario. Vulnerability assessment. Say, for example, you are just want to use on your system. You can use. You want to find out what is your IP. So maybe once I type in, it might display my IP and all. I don't want to get into that. This. Say, for example, you are having your IP as 192.168. 1.1. Usually, most of the time by default, it will be likewise. Okay, so what you do is you log in into that particular IP using your admin credentials. Okay, you will be downloading your configuration file of your router. This is basically router. So I'll use a demo file here. Let's say I want to test live. I'll say add network and give my IP details and all. Or client has already given a file. Let's assume what we'll ask the client is, give me your configuration file of router. He has given me a configuration file, more of a CSV format or XML format, whatever. I just add that particular file. Say, for example, demo, I've taken this provided by the tool itself. I want to run that. Okay, I'm going to say, what are all, this is where configuration is about. I'm saying I want to do a security audit. I want to do vulnerability audit. I want to do Cisco related audit. I want to do maybe NIST related audit. Okay, so I can enable, I can check that. I want to go for this compliance. I want to go for additional compliance, payment compliance, like PCI audit is there when it comes to banks and all. Okay, I can just check. This is the configuration. I mean, depending on the kind of scope, you will check that configuration and accordingly we'll run that. Okay, so for example, I've run this. So it is going to take a couple of hardly a minute or so, wherein it will sometimes ask you to confirm whether you want this kind of settings and all, where if it is any change, you will be mentioning that version kind of thing. Okay, just a minute. Likewise, this is the settings it is confirming. You want to confirm whether it is okay with it. And that's it. So once it has done, it has thrown up the entire analysis report. Your report is ready. I'll just say finish, and this is the report. And this is the sample report, as I was mentioning, just a part of demo. So what I need to understand is, I need to understand what is the protocol of each system. I mean, that's where we are learning. We are discussing about upgrading ourselves to the next version, that is to understand the network protocols and all. And maybe I'll discuss about how the way forward for this, probably the way we can equip ourselves. And this is the finding, which is throwing up all the charts in terms of which kind of area, what is the percentage of vulnerability. And each of these will be provided as part of our detail under each of the frameworks, what we are performing in audit. Okay, so if I have to go for maybe OX related or CV related, everything. Okay, this is what I was mentioning about common vulnerability exploitations related. I mean, this particular point, this is the information which comes from the task force first. each company will upload the any vulnerabilities what they have come across, and they rate it based on the CVSS criteria. Okay, and they'll upload this, and this will come back.
There is the central government ruling is there, Ministry of Information Technology. Wherever they notice a vulnerable, wherever they notice some risk, they have to inform to the central government to the certain within 6 hours of time. I think, am I right, sir? 6 hours?
Yes, sir. Within 6 hours. Yeah.
Within 6 hours of time, they have to inform any attacks to the system. And through that, they maintain all these databases as how that has occurred. And then they share this knowledge among the total users. And that's how this database is getting built up. And we'll come to know about this. And the moment it is informed, all those checks and balances and controls are upgraded into these softwares, and the software will again go on verifying next time when you start using this. Those are all the upgrades, and that's what we see that CVEs and all. Yes, sir.
Here, one such is like say it's saying that in a given router, the usernames are very generic, and password someone has mentioned as a password. The password itself is mentioned as password. So it'll all identify basically this
when
tool.
we are trying to create a password at the income tax portal, when I'm using a very generic password like 123 and all, it will highlight that the password is not safe, it is strong, it is medium, it is low. So these are such kind of hints, and you can just out of this we'll just start making the a report. And there is a policy already made in our the policy is already made wherein it says the password should have an 8-digit etc and all, where one something should be capital and so on and so on and all. And whether these passwords, the system is allowing this to do it. The software is allowed to create a password of a very low intense passwords, whereas the international standard says this should be the way in which the password, and where the system is allowed to create. And this is where we will be expressing an opinion, reviewing and giving a report. This is how things will move on. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So more or less, the report also will be in the same grounds. I mean, someone using VAPT or especially VA, what they do is they'll just copy this as part of the recommendation what they are going to present in the report. So technically, yeah, I need to understand which tool is proper for the kind of configuration based on the protocol. I need to understand what kind of open source, whether I should be using open source depending on the kind of traffic what I'm trying to check. If it is a live kind of checking, that's where I need to have a technical. And that's where we are also mentioning, saying that we'll have definitely a couple of workshops on this once the process of empanelment goes through. We'll have, if required, we'll call in the certain trainers itself to understand the process of this thing, so that we'll have hands-on. Not only that, it's not about only empaneling with certain. We ourselves have our own offices having so much of confidential information, so much of network devices and all. And obviously, we should be in a position to test our own office, saying how far I'm complying with. Because we have come across, in fact, recently, 3 months back, we have come across an entity in Hyderabad, which is hardly having 5 systems, which was attacked by a ransomware. Okay. So it has become very common. I mean, someone who is into technology, they would have come across this crime as a service, which is happening nowadays, wherein the ransomware cartels are providing services. I mean, say for example, if I have to hack someone, I have to attack a ransomware, I don't need to build up an infrastructure. I just need to approach them saying that, okay, this is the IP of my client or whom I want to attack. Okay. So what they'll give is they'll give application file. I just need to see that application file is loaded by using phishing or whatever it may be. I just see that file is loaded in that particular place. Once it is executed, it will display a ransomware dialog saying that you pay in bitcoins to so and so, then only it will be released. Whatever they are paying, that ransom cartel, it will make that cut and pay the payment to us. I mean, it doesn't even require the infrastructure. That's the things happening around. Okay. So as a entity managing so much of data, so much of infrastructure, I also should be in a position to understand what is the risk I'm taking. I should be in a position to assess my own entity. Even for that sake, the kind of workshop what we are speaking about, if not for performing audit, it will be helpful for us for our own review kind of. Okay. Now let's go back to this application form just to run through if anything we have missed out. Then again, I'll touch upon a couple of important aspects about information security audit. So it asks about what are the kind of audit methodologies you have followed. As I was mentioning, if you have done a bank branch related IS audit, you'll be mentioning that because you have done access related. So that will be a regulated standard and framework, general controls. It will fall into your access management. Those are all the list what you'll be mentioning. It will ask for the list of those audits what you have conducted. So I've mentioned that it's a confidential. I'll be providing at the time of personal interview. I've just given the brief of work what I've performed. Number of technical persons involved. So
yes. We can just move back to the 16th form. Yes, if I'm going to apply tomorrow, how can I fill it? Now, is there, it is asking about details of audit conducted in the last 12 months. And this is the data what I have provided, and the same data is once I am empaneled, if I permit CERT to publish it, they are publishing it. And those published, we have accessed it in the MS, in the PDF. And from that only, we have made that Excel analysis as to how many of them have made private limiteds and all. So again, to give confidence, let me just take you through the same Excel and just see to the same. Yes, sir. If you can just, yeah, on the private F, if you can just filter on the column F, which has number of private limited audits they have carried out. You can just see this. Yeah. So there are at least 7 or 8 who have done all private limited systems audits. So overall, out of 170, if you look into 170 people, all of them have done private limited audits, and 0. There are, sorry, you can just look at only private limited audits carried out in all, where it is 0 in, yeah. So there are organizations who have never touched government and PSU. It doesn't mean that, let us not be under the impression that certain will allot empanelment only if I have done the government related IS audits or PSU related IS audits. It's not that. Even private limited companies IS audits, if I have done it, I can very well demonstrate to them. Moreover, if you can look at the H column, which is total H column, they have done only that, but still they have registered. It indicates that however small it is, let's not bother about I'm very small, I may not be able to do it. You can just see here people who have not done anything but just got, why so much? You can just see the Madhya Pradesh State Electronic Development Corporation got registered. No experience as per their they have just got enrolled with a future intention to do it. So we can definitely be one among them. And hence, I say, let's not bother about the past experience. Let's start building this experience. And sir, let's go back to that form, sir. Yes, coming back to again 16. So most of our clients have payroll. Most of our clients have, be it even tally, or be it your own firm where you have got audit, where you have got a chartered accountant. Maybe you might have got, you have become a chartered accountant by doing an articles in one of the firms where that firm has more than 30-40 systems. It requires audit. You can ask them. They will, if you are interested, if you have already done DISA, you have that flair of doing, yes, definitely your parent organization will ask you to carry out. You can do it, start mentioning it. Yes, I have done this. What are all the types of audits? Again, sir, to the same Excel, please. What are all the audits that I have done? Yes, we have a list of all these audits. We'll share this file. You can just see here what a chartered accountant can do. Sir, how many numbers are there, sir? Around 70 numbers are there?
Around 80, yeah.
Yeah, around 70 numbers of types of audits. What a chartered accountant can do it. We can list down this. We can easily list down these works because I might have done it at least 10 out of this in the past at least 2-3 years. So I can start documenting it, writing it. Yes, when it comes to the documentation, yes, you can write it. It's confidential. I'll provide it at the time of. I'll provide it at the time of interview. We will make it available. It's very well permitted, and the application also talks about it. And hence, I say, let's not run away by looking at, as I have done 2 years back. I've run away from this, looking at these jugglery, looking at these names. I've ran away from this. I'm feeling bad that, okay, now I'm motivated. I wanted to do it at the earliest. Yeah, coming back to the same name, sir. Yes. So I say, look at now sitting here, you can just close your eyes and take out the names of the firms, names of the companies you have, clients you have, where you might have seen more than 10, 20 systems. They might have a router. They have payroll system. I'm sure if a company has more than 100 employees, they must and should, they'll definitely have a payroll system. They have ETDS software, they have GST software, they have Tally software, they might have SAP software, whatnot they may have. So many softwares they have. And I have shown you the kind of works that we can do it. A big list we have seen, 70 to 80 kind of list on all these things. How much ever we can do it, why can't we start writing these things? Readily you can start doing it. So that's how the 16 format can be filled in. Yes, next comes the 17. It is asking number of technical personnel involved in information security auditing related to information regarding the technical personnel. Yeah. So let's go back to the same application, sir, to the Excel. Same Excel, if you can just look at the personnel with manpower. So can we just take the minimum number of manpower, least amount of manpower technically qualified out of 170, least one. Least is 5, sir?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. So
let's take this.
I think it's less than.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are 2 also.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Yeah, 5. There is no 0 in this. Yeah. I think there's some filter. Remove the filters and then.
I think actually there is a 0 also, but somehow it has not captured because we have come across this. Only one DISA qualified and one MTech qualified also.
Right.
Go to the PDF file. Someone has.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The point is, let's not bother about what what I've done past. Yes, as I said, you tap your next door, you can definitely find out one engineer. And if you can just go through leisurely that empanelment pages having 500, you will definitely get a confidence that yes, you can also do it. So you just write down, or you just say that this information is confidential, we'll provide at the time of interview. So we can walk on through this. You have time, you can accordingly structure it. Next, sir.
Yeah, one more thing to reiterate what Premna sir has mentioned. Even if, let's say, you might say only technical person 1, and you might say that that one person may not be being part of my critical audits. I'll say mention no. So still, it doesn't make you eligible to be empaneled. It's only that you will not get audits, but it will not stop you to empanel, because we are looking for empanelment not just to perform audit, but also to retain what we are doing now, as of now, in terms of bank branch audit or EIS audit and all. Okay. So it's only that if you don't have the kind of technical person, you may not be given like say VAPT or kind of audits, bigger audits and all. You might be eligible for smaller audits, but otherwise, at least it will not stop you to empanel. Okay, that is the main focus we are trying to make a point through this session, saying that no, don't stop yourself to empanel just because you're not capable of or you're not going to do that kind of audits. Okay, drop in the application to get empanel to retain what you're doing as of at least. Okay, so this is again the details of personal, if in case you are mentioning, and you need to, if you are case outsourcing, as I've said, if in case I'm having an MOU with an entity which is performing VAPT and all, I'll be entering into MOU and I'll be capturing that person's name as part of my this thing, saying that no, he is going to, and I'll display that. In fact, I can, someone has mentioned over here saying that the contract will be shared at the time of interview. Okay, so I can display that also. And background checks and all, whoever you are mentioning there, you need to provide a consent form and a background check form, which is also attached to this Annexure 2. And Annexure 2 is consent form, which says that whatever information you are providing, whether that is permitted to be displayed on the certain portal. I mean, because they have mentioned, yes, that's the reason we could see all these 150 empanel people details. So that is the consent form what you're giving. And the 19 point is that you have done a background check on the technical person whose name you have mentioned over here. And the 21 point also, as I was mentioning about, you can share now if in case you have the details of security audit. But if in case you need to find out, because given time, you need to maybe you need to search and get that information, whatever you have done during 5 years, 10 years back and all, you can still mention it will be provided at the time of personal interview. Okay, so I can mention not scratched and say will be provided at the time of personal interview, if in case it's not readily available. Okay, so that is also there. So these 21 points is the one which allows you, I mean, this is the application form end to end, what you should be filling. So the last 5 points.
Again, I'll reiterate again that point number 21. You have done, we have done it. You can list down. Okay, you want to submit it later on, that's a different story. But we can list down even right now, immediately after the session is over, you can sit. You already have that, we can share that Excel sheet. Then you have what list? You can take out the list of your own clients. As I said, see how much is possible from the list. And that is the answer for this 21, clause 21. The answer is already there with us. Yeah, still you don't want to commit. Still, we don't want to commit at this point of time. You want to keep it open, refine it further. Yes, there is a chance because the application itself is saying. Now, this is what I'm saying. So out of the 70 items, financial sector audit, we can see that.
The audit also as part of this thing. Maybe they have considered a scope out of that, but still they have mentioned it as part of list of eligible audits.
They have done, some of them have done training. Tomorrow I can train. Tomorrow I can train people. I can read ESA study material, DISA study material 3. I can read it. I can take classes on BCP. I can train people on BCP. I can test people on BCP in our clients. Okay, you may say that, sir, as of now, the client, yes, there are ways to get the client. I tell them we'll do it at this cost. Enter into it. You know how this happens. And start building it and demonstrate it. I'm sure we can do this. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here, whatever is eligible, maybe you have done only compliance audit. If in case that only you'll mention rest of all in strike off, or if you have done any of this physical access and security testing you have done, you can enable that in rest of all you strike off. Okay, so whatever is not applicable, you can strike off. But as I said, it's again not mandatory about saying that no, it's about asking about the skills and capabilities to carry out. It's not about what you have carried out already. It is about carrying out in the future. That's the basis, as I said, the kind of team what you have, the MOU what you have entered, or the understanding what you have entered. Based on that, you will be enabling it, saying that okay, I'm going to perform this. I'm capable of doing this. I'm interested in taking up this work. Okay, that is this list, not about the past experience. This list is about what you are trying to do once you get empaneled, what you are agreeing to do once you get empaneled. Okay, and rest of all, it's about the undertaking, that is non-disclosure agreement and all, NDA related. Okay, and this is another detail which asks about all the list what you have mentioned, the type of audits, the client details of audits what you have mentioned earlier here. Those details, point number 21. The last annexure is about giving the details of those. And here also we have come across clients in the panel details. They mentioned that it is confidential. Obviously, you would have signed NDA with the clients, so you don't want to disclose the name, but it will be provided at the time of personal interview on one-to-one basis. Okay, so it's not mandatory that you define. If in case you have listed down, you have identified, you can mention based on the comfort what you have or the NDA what you have with the client. But if in case you have an NDA, you can mention the same over here, saying that the details will be provided at the time of interview. Okay. So more or less, this is the entire application. Let me also go back to the presentation for the sake of a couple of important changes what we have come across. And this is one of the sample of the bank empanelment for year 22-23. If you see, except for EDP audit, they are permitting DISA and CISA certified. But when it comes to IS audit or KYC audit or what you call AUA, KUA audit, it is asking about auditor being CISA or a certain empanel, auditing be a CISA or a certain empanel. So that is a change what we have seen from the last year, saying that entity should be a certain empanel to perform even a branch level of IS audit. Okay, and one more thing, let's not get into this thing. One more area what you can explore is the cyber security. I mean, if in case your firm has a CISA qualified, the advantage is you can do this NCDEX, which is under a SEBI cyber security resilience audit. Till last year, this was also being done by a DISA qualified by virtue of changes what they have brought in 2021. Now it has gone out of DISA. Now it is asking for either CISA or a certain. Okay, so this is one area what you can see. Basically, you are trying to explore once you get empaneled, not only about the new audits, it's also about the earlier audits, whatever you are performing as a DISA. To go back to those kind of audits, it is requiring a certain empanel or a CISA qualified kind of requirement. Okay. Now, the reason behind, of course, the scope shift from information system to information security, the kind of concept papers, what kind of regulatory framework, what each and every regulator is following in terms of cyber security and all that aspects. That is the reason there is a change in the scope, and we need to gear up to reach out to that extent. And ultimately, one suggestion I can make in this open platform is we actually discussed this Nanda sir when he was present here, to see that DISA, we are done, we are good with information systems. Okay, we said we are equipped with information system, but if in case I have to enter into information security, why not have a second version of DISA, saying that those who are done DISA are eligible to join this. Maybe we call it as DASP, that is Information Security Professional or Information Security Management, wherein we'll have a person who has done a DISA eligible to get into this kind of version 2, where we'll do workshop, we'll do hands-on, understand the practical aspects of information security, use the tools, understand the reporting. Okay, so that is one area, one we can think of members of, because ultimately what we have seen is of late, even yesterday, one of the physical session, whenever it is an information technology or the domain is outside the income tax and GST, the kind of participation what we see is not so encouraging. But unless you participate, it's not about, as I said, entering about a new domain. It's about retaining the present audits what we are going through. Even for that sake, there is no other escape other than to adopt for this kind of domains like information technology. Okay. And networking with MOU and employing security professionals is one such area you can think of. Yeah. So meanwhile, any other questions so far? Madam, if you can read out if any questions are there at this point of time.
Yes, sir. We have one question. What if we have done an IS/IT audit in UAE or abroad?
Yeah, it is very much eligible. It's not, nowhere it mentions that it has to be done on Indian company. It's only that whether you have done or not. I mean, they have a documentary evidence which shows that you have done that. It's about showing that evidence, especially with those points up to 17, which you are saying that no, we have done it. From 18 to 21 onwards, it's the futuristic, what you are going to do. So it's nowhere it restricts, even if you have done outside, very much permitted. And again, at the cost of repeating what we say, let's not stop ourselves from dropping an application with a doubt saying that no, whether I get it, whether I know it's just 5,000 of cost what I am incurring. But I'll understand the process of empanelment. Once I go through the process, I'll understand that, okay, only thing we need to prepare is have a team of people, get into an MOU, get a network, identify someone who is doing this kind of activity, get into MOU, mention that person's name along with you saying that we are going to outsource the activity. Try with an empanelment. Let the technical evaluation be handled by the technical guy over a period of 3 months. This is a process which goes up to January. Okay, first phase, they'll give a sample, next another live kind of thing. Everything will be handled by a technical person. After January, it is going to be a personal interview where we and the technical person will go in and to give a confidence saying that what is that I'm going to do? How are the tools? Or what are the tools I'm going to use? And that is where we are pitching and saying that no, once this audit season is over, maybe September, October is over, we'll have a very good workshops kind of thing to understand the information security aspects. We'll go through the tool using, understanding the reporting and all. We'll try to have more such sessions to understand that. So ultimately, just because say don't bar yourself or don't stop saying that no, I may be entering, I may not be entering. Just drop in an application, go through the process. The learning will be helpful. If not now, the next year empanelment will be there. But ultimately, unless I get into this, there is every chance of losing all that information system related audit, or for sometimes even couple of regulatory audits, which is very much being done as of now without any restriction, might be lost by virtue of requirement saying that no firm or entity should be certain empanelment or a CISA qualified partner should be there, so and so, so and so. So not to lose that kind of opportunities, we are saying that no, let's not use this lose this opportunity of empanelment. Yes, sir.
Then employing, as you have rightly covered all these issues, as you have said that it is best. Next thing we need to do is take 5,000 rupees DD when the banks open next moment. Then by the time take this application, convert into MS Word, start filling in, and wherever it permits, the application permits you to write down that I'll share it later on. So put it, shut it and fill it and then send it off. And I'm sure the Nanda sir has given so much of confidence. He said, we'll conduct hands-on experience at the by the DAP. You have Center of Excellence in Hyderabad and some places with your own laptops, and then with the open source tools, it's possible that the technical experts will come, and it's possible even certain people can come and train us. Even certain is conducting training on a regular basis. We can also join there, and that will be an added advantage to the chartered accountants. On a monthly basis, there are certain is conducting so many training programs. I wish we all should join there and make our presence felt by them, so that it will be easy. Networking with certain is through attending through attending their programs will be of much importance from both sides. So let's start doing it. Let's not miss this opportunity. So to sum up again, as I said, that 70 or 80 odd works that have already been done by the number of 170 people, we can also do it. With the present level of knowledge, we can also do it. No, from tomorrow onwards, I want to do it very seriously. Yes, go back to the websites, look into their policies, and try to see how many of those policies are adopted in your client's place, or start from our own office, or start on your own laptop. How much are you trying to follow it? Then Look it from the office. First my laptop, next my office, next my client office. That itself is a big learning experience. Okay. You may say that, yes, I don't even want to go to their websites and all. Just now, Vijay Srinivas sir has taken that SEBI concept paper. Okay, take out that 130 or 40 pages of concept paper, take out that, start reading and try to understand and start implementing as if your own, you are SEBI empaneled mutual fund or whatever it is, as if you are the own one. Why can't you start doing it on our own by tomorrow? And then you'll start getting confidence. Still, you feel that I'm not getting confidence. Can someone hold my hand in helping me out this? Yes, we are there. We'll share our number, and the number is already there. Mail number and mail ID is already there with DAP. You can contact them. They'll share. We can be in touch. We'll help you out on a non-commercial basis to see that our presence is felt by the certain today. Let us. It's less than 10 firms are on certain today. Let's make at least 100 of our CA firms are getting listed with the certain. Let's make our presence felt by them. For that, whatever you want us to do, we are ready to do it. Dab is ready to do it. Nanda sir is ready to do it. So we'll explore, we'll exploit this golden opportunity. Let's not miss this 30th September. Let's move ahead by registering. We are all there. We'll definitely support. Yes, sir. Anything, sir?
Yeah. Now, apart from this, if someone is interested, various kind of audit, like RBI has two kinds of audit. One is the information systems and information security.
Yeah.
Within RBI, again, you have NBFCs, we have housing related companies, and you have cooperative related entities. All these nowadays are empaneling somewhere at the RO level. It's not even through bidding process also. So you can approach the respective zonal offices, RO offices to empanel. If in case you have a DSO call, as of now, as I said, no restriction is still not at the larger level where it says certain and all, but somewhere you are saying that no, okay, you don't want to miss this opportunity to perform some audit. Even now, you can approach the respective banks and all. Many cooperative banks are offering this kind of audits, IS related audit, and also within SEBI, all the entities, MIIs, TMs, trading members, TCMs, all those are being covered in this. So there is an annual systems audit to be performed by all these entities, RTFs, insurance regulatory related agents, whoever is having that nodes being managed at their end. All those have to perform an annual systems audit. So you can just approach, you can just go to SEBI, you can download this notification circular, which is asking for empanelment. Now, if you go to, I think page number 13 or 12, one second, let me just check. Yeah, these are the various kind of audits, what it is asking for. And with regard to the empanelment, yeah, again, it says a CISA qualified so and so, so and so. But unfortunately, no, that's what the present. But once you are certain empanelment, all this will go away. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you have a DISA or a CISA, as long as you are certain empanelment. Yes. And they also have this framework, and NCDX I already displayed, wherein you have various members whom you have to perform an audit. And along with that, NCDA. Along with that, another option I was also thinking about is like, say, fortunately, this Digital Protection Board of India is not yet formed. But we don't know, once it is formed, to perform those digital privacy audits or to be a data auditor, what kind of empanelment requirements. So immediately, because it is referring to more of the acts, because no, if you see the entire section 43 has been replaced from ITA Act by this particular act. So they might again go back referring to certain empanelment. If I have to perform a data protection audit as on date, immediately before they formulate anything, the readily available is obviously a nodal agency called certain. So they might again drop in that particular name saying that someone who has to perform to be empaneled, and that's again one more criteria which is being added. So ultimately, everything coming back to this particular agency where you have to be empaneled. And we have seen a simple process. I mean, as I said again, repeating again and again, not to worry about what are all things might happen. Just try it, learn it. If anything has to be improvised, we have another year to probably improvise ourselves and get into that, because this is going to be a benchmark to perform any kind of systems audit, or for that matter, any other audit, as I was mentioning about like digital privacy or any other kind of audits. So, ma'am, I think if in case any questions are there, because what we thought initially is we'll have more of an interactive kind of session wherein we'll give a one-to-one kind of suggestion whenever they have any issue with regard to those points and all. So, if you have any questions, and ma'am, kindly please read out, we'll address, and any members can even now come out. Please drop in your questions with regard to the panel.
No, sir, you have answered all the questions those were
Okay.
asked.
Okay. So nothing much to add. As I said, uh, first the immediate approach for us to, I mean, at least the steps forward is to see that from my DSA level, how I go to the next level of information security by virtue of course, someone is interested in doing ISO 27001 lead audit, or maybe CASSP kind of thing, they are very much welcome. But for me, I thought probably networking is much more easier than me performing. So identifying someone who's already done, getting into network is much more comfortable for us. And understanding the standards and frameworks is all are lying out there. And just to repeat, or just to mention, you have various portals providing free of cost training, a 30-hour training, 40-hour training in terms of these particular standards and framework. You have Coursera, Udemy, and all that. And understand what is the importance of this network protocol. As I said, even if you just go to your own router configuration, you download the file, there itself it will list down some 20-25 kind of protocols. Understand what is that protocol you're dealing with. That will be a learning for your own. And participating in various, like say your client, for example, the way I've started is few of my clients, I said I'll be participating in information security policy or helping out information security policy without expecting any commercial kind of thing. Let me participate. Let me draft an IS policy, because I've seen a couple of lapses in control, which I'm mentioning in my output anyway. Let me see how best I can support you in drafting an IS policy to see that all these controls are in place. So that's how we start drafting an IS policy, understanding trying to put that policy and framework in a document, considering the client business model, because we understood the client model end to end. So it will be easy for us to integrate whatever drafting and policies and framework. So let me just draft it as per the client business. Okay. And another example I can take is, if you have time, you can just visit this Microsoft website, DPR, Data Protection Review, wherein all these service providers with regard to the privacy, they have to get this particular audit, DPR. There, of course, they are asking about the CISA qualified. So someone is CISA qualified, you can try this area also. All those vendors who are registered with Microsoft, maybe selling a license or providing a training or whatever it may be, they have to undergo this particular audit once in 2 years. So you can try this. There will be a 53-point validation with regard to the, of course, data privacy, which you will be validating. But it will be checklist is much more interesting in terms to learn each of the point. You pick up that particular point, do your research what that point is, using the resources, web resources. That will be a very good learning. So here, information security, it requires more of unstructured learning than attending these kind of sessions. More percentage of time to be spent on the unstructured learn, wherein personally you have to involve yourself. Okay. So that's my point of addition at this point. So unless if any questions are there, probably we can end the session, sir. Unless you have something to add.
Right. Nothing. Yes, we can just.
So yes, ma'am. If no questions are there, because
No, sir.
it was meant to have question and answer kind of thing. But anyway, it's up to you now. Thank you very much for all your support, and special thanks to Nanda sir for taking up personally to bring out these kind of sessions, and all the participants for being joining us. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sir,
Thank you
this
so much.
session was very, very insightful and knowledgeable. Thank you so much for guiding us through the entire step-by-step path to enter this IS audit field, and to actually motivating us that yes, this field is actually open to us. So I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our eminent speakers who have made this gathering truly exceptional. To our participants, we hope that you leave this webinar with wealth of knowledge and inspiration. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you, sir, for taking out your precious time for this webinar. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.